What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, I'm going to give my somewhat predictions for the next episode of American Gods. That's going to be Season 1, Episode 8, which is the season finale. Yeah, I know, sad to see it go, right? But it'll be back, I'm sure. And the title is Come to Jesus. All right, so the season 1 finale of American Gods is almost here. That's it. That's right, the end of season 1, and then we'll have to wait most likely till next spring or so. I don't know when they're going to release it for season 2, which I'm thinking it'll also be 8 episodes. I don't mind the 8 to 10 episode model. I feel like it makes a tighter story and it moves it along quicker, and you get less bogged down with too many side plots or kind of pointless story arcs. So it works for some shows, but other shows definitely benefit. Look, 3 of my favorite shows on right now are 8 to 10 episodes. You got Game of Thrones, you got American Gods, you got Fargo. Those are 3 of my favorite shows on right now, and you really get a good a well-moving story in the 8 to 10 episodes. All right, sorry, let's move on. All right, so the finale, episode 8, which is titled Come to Jesus. I'll get to that in a minute. The synopsis reads, on the eve of war, Mr. Wednesday attempts to recruit the old god Ostara, or Easter, but needs Mr. Nancy, or Anansi's, help in making good impression and winning her over. So I think we're going to get mostly Shadow and Wednesday. We might get a little Mad Sweeney and Laura, but I doubt it. I think last episode was their send-off. So I think this episode will be mostly Shadow and Wednesday. But who knows? Maybe they get to wherever Mad Sweeney's taking Laura to get resurrected. I really don't know. So that'll be interesting to see where they go there. But I have a strong feeling that we're not going to find out what else is happening with Mad Sweeney and Laura until next season. That's my guess. Same thing with Samir, I think. I think this episode is going to be really focused heavy on moving the plot along to where we kind of know where we're going in season 2. Maybe not, but a little bit, somewhat. So I don't think we're going to end with the big meeting of all the gods, but I think we're going to be like right at the door by the ending. Right at the precipice of that meeting, where I think season 2 will probably pick up very close or right off with the meeting of the gods. So I think we're going to get a lot of Mr. Nancy. That's the well-dressed black gentleman from, I forgot which episode it was, but he was on the slave ship, and he was kind of encouraging the slaves to revolt against their new masters, right? The slavers, the scumbags running the ship. And that's kind of Mr. Nancy's thing. That's Anansi's thing throughout the history of the god. Is he's a spider god, so he comes as either a spider or a man or like a half and half kind of creature. And what he does is he basically takes the oppressed and encourages them to stand up to the oppressors, to fight back. He's very cunning, he's very smart, and I believe he's known as like the god with all knowledge of all stories. So he's supposed to be like a very intelligent god. Now, at first, when he was introduced on the show, I got an evil vibe from him, but I think that's the point. I really think he's a good guy, like a good character, and he's going to come in handy in this great war. Because he's going to have a lot of knowledge of all of these gods, old and new, and know maybe how to defeat them or how to recruit them, which I think is going to come into play in this one. And then we have the goddess, Easter, who basically gets her power by people worshiping the month of April. But then when people stopped worshiping the month of April, it all got squished down to one day. And then the focus wasn't actually on Easter, it was on the resurrection of Jesus. So I think that's where Come to Jesus takes shape, because she is basically like a Jesus figure now, because she gets her power from people worshiping the resurrection of Christ on Easter Sunday. And I guess she feeds off of that a little bit all month, and that gets her through the year. I don't really know how that's going to work or how it's going to play. But basically, she was this once revered god worshipped all month of April. and now she's knocked down to 1 day of the year. I think that's pretty poignant to the like the idea of the whole show, you know. So it says that on the eve of war, so we're getting down to it. I don't think we're gonna get into war. If you watch the trailer, we get to see some of the new gods also, but I think they're either gonna be trying to recruit Laura, or they're gonna be coming to Shadow in visions or whatever, trying to recruit Shadow to their cause. That's where I think we're gonna get with the old gods. Not so much of war, like physical fighting war, but more of a mental war, a mental battle, is where I think they're going with the new gods. So it says that Wednesday and Shadow need to recruit Easter, and they need Mr. Nancy's help in making a good impression and winning her over. So I think Nancy is going to give them some insight into how to get Easter in their favor and how to recruit her for the war. Maybe she's just a complex being, or Wednesday doesn't know her too well, or maybe he's just not liked by her or something. So he needs a little bit of help into kind of wooing her. The picture for this week, like the cover art on IMDb or whatever, is Wednesday holding Easter's hand like he's about to kiss it, and she kind of looks a little enamored by him or impressed by him, or she just looks like she likes what she sees or what's going on. So that should be really interesting. And then we get a lot of clips in the trailer for. We get a lot of clips of like dream stuff that looks like it's going on with Shadow, where he's going to have some more of these dreams. So as I do think he's going to come across the new gods, I also think he's going to start having more frequent nightmares about the buffalo, and which I believe that buffalo that he's seeing in his dreams is actually the god that died in that animated clip. Maybe that god is related to Shadow somehow. But that's what I think that buffalo is. It's that god that we saw die in that one animated opening, somewhere in America thing with the Native Americans. So yeah, that's where I think they're going with that. And will they be successful in recruiting Easter? I don't know. I mean, so far they've recruited all of the Zuriya sisters and Chernabog, and then Vulcan. They got him to make the sword, but they weren't able to recruit him. So they're not really having all that much luck. And we don't know who Wednesday has reached out to prior to this. So we don't really know who's all going to be at this meeting of gods. For all we know, it's just going to be Wednesday's Shadow and the Zuriya sisters and Chernabog. Like maybe nobody else will even show up. So that should be really interesting. Now, the character of Mr. Nancy I like because they make him come across as sort of villainous, but from reading up on the god, I actually think he's a good god, a righteous god, a god that actually takes care of people and doesn't ask for much in return. So, I really hope that he turns out to be as interesting as I think he's going to be. Now, I do think we might also get to see Anubis and Set. I forgot the other guy, the dude that writes the book that was basically telling the whole story in the last episode. I think we might get to see a little bit more of them. They're very interesting characters. I really enjoy them. And then hopefully we get a really good Somewhere in America for this episode. Maybe we'll get another Jesus, another version of Jesus, or maybe we'll get Easter's story or something. I don't know. But I'm really looking forward to it, and it looks like it's going to be a good one. I don't know if it's any longer. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find if it was if the episode's going to be any longer or not. Probably not. Starz doesn't really usually do that with their shows, so. But, we'll see. Maybe they'll change things up and do it that way this time. Yeah, so that's it for this one. Not much. Like I said, I don't think we're going to see the war. I don't think we're going to get a lot of action. But I think we will get a lot of cool visuals, a lot of really good god stuff. I definitely think we're going to get some mythology, some mythos. Maybe even we'll get a little bit more insight to who Shadow is and why he's important. I think we'll get that through the new gods as opposed to Wednesday because he seems a little too secretive for that. But I'm really excited. I'm a little sad to see season 1 ending already, but if they end it right, then it'll just leave our mouths watering for more for the next season. So you can't really complain about that, right? A meal is always good when after you're finished, you're thinking about that meal and you want to kind of have that same meal again as soon as you're hungry again, and that's how I feel with American Gods. So sound off down below. Let me know how you feel about American Gods Season 1, what you think is going to happen in the finale, just anything you want to talk about American Gods related. I'm pretty good with getting back to my comments and getting into a good discussion about these sort of things because, I like to talk about this stuff. I could talk till I'm blue in the face. If you watch my videos, you know that because I probably done it a couple of times. All right, so sound off down below. Anything you got to say, say it down there. Thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate it. Definitely check out the channel. There's other content, American Gods stuff, as well as various other shows, movies, etc. Yep. All right. So thanks for watching. Always appreciate it. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time.